Oh, there's the head gasket from my Atomic 4. You can see it's blown. The inside of the head gasket. It looks like that's maybe, I don't know, an original asbestos one, or I don't know, maybe not. Maybe they're just saturated there for a while. Anyways, just replacing that with some 2 new gaskets and getting the head back on. So there's the new gasket. Got 2 of them on there. That's to replace the old one. It wasn't that difficult actually. It only took about an hour to get to. Just had to take this off, the alternator off, the spark plugs and stuff. So now I'm going to give it a water test. I'm going to put the head back on, hook up the thermostat housing, and then I'm going to hook a hose up to the intake here, and I'm going to hook the old hose to just dump the water down here into the bilge while I test it, just to take a look if there's water getting into the exhaust, because I had water in the exhaust manifold and it was coming up through the number 4 exhaust cylinder, or the exhaust valve, every time it opened, and I suspect it was full of water. It was cranked too many times, so the exhaust actually had a crap load of water in it. And yeah, I dumped the water. I don't know how much. Must have been like 2 liters of water fluid came out of the exhaust in the back. So that was exciting. So yeah, that's. You can see I took my pipe off there, and then I just put it down by the side and let the water run out into the bilge. So now I'm just gonna get the head back on. All right, so that's the head on. I used a gasket maker here. I got that for my Audi. It's like a universal sealing compound. P-U-Z-O, Pizzosil or something. Anyways, it's basically like a gasket maker. I used that on the thermostat, and then over here on the, I took this plate down here off just to inspect inside, but the block looked fine. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up the water to the intake, and then I'm just going to watch, see if any water comes out of here, now that I've got it all back together. On these you have to torque to 30 pounds. So just go with the torque wrench. Alright, second oil change. I've got the oil extractor here, and basically you pump and it gives suction, and then the tube is basically just in the oil dipstick tube here, and it just basically sucks it out right from the thing, from the bottom of the oil pan, without having to do anything. So this is a great little machine here. This it's by Pella Oil Extractor 6000. Kind of reminds me of the Y2K. Everything had 2001 and all. Anyways, yeah. So I'm gonna do this about 2-3 more times until I don't see any water in the engine, in the oil. In the winterizing, there was like way too much antifreeze put in, and it all back channeled into the exhaust manifold, which then went into the cylinders and seeped down into the oil. So not good. So I had to clean it all out. Seems to be functioning okay. There's no more oil water in the system, so I'm going to take off that little cap there actually and just double check the exhaust manifold just so that it's still dry. Right on. Nice and dry. Just some residue black exhaust. Alright, so here's what I found so far. Killed the batteries, so I get the battery charger going on here, and here's the engine. We got it all back together. I was starting to try to start it, and I was getting a little smoke, which tells me that there's some fire there now, but the batteries died, so not too sure. But what I found was the distributor cap timing was 180 degrees off. So because when I was cranking it, I was hearing backfiring, and basically the spark would go off, but the exhaust was already open, and then if there was already gases in there, it just was shooting way too late. So yeah, so I just kind of took out all the spark plugs, and then I put a it's starting to rain. I put a in here. I took out all the spark plugs, and in the front cylinder number 1, I put a little stick in there, plastic stick, and I just kind of felt until the piston was at the top, and then I looked into it and I could see that the intake valve was closed. So that would be the firing position. So that would be top dead center. And then when I came over to the distributor, the rotor in the distributor was in the wrong spot. It was actually on cylinder number 4. So it was firing in the wrong spot. So like I said, I started to get a little bit of smoke, so it was just starting to kick in, and then the battery died. So I need to get the battery charged up, and I'll give it another try. July 6th, started up pretty fast. Got a little bit of smoke coming out there, but we'll see how that goes. If it started up a couple of cranks, that was it. It's in pretty good shape, the engine now. Give it a little bit of gas. Take the choke off. The engine to get the oil re-lubricated, and we're going to be using this Moyer Marine Extractor 6000 to take 2 liters of it out, and going to change the oil 2 more times today. That's what I plan on doing. Started like a dream. I've got a bit of a water leak. You can see that down there. It's coming from the back. Shining the light up there. It's actually coming from the very back, where the tailpipe it is. So I'm going to go take off the back panel, control panel, and see if I can find it. Alright, I gotta take this panel off. See if I can find the source of my leak. These screws are totally stripped, every one of them, so I think it's just being held on by caulking. See, it's like a glue from behind. I get one out. Nope, they are bolts, eh? So I gotta take this off probably to get at my hand in there to the bolts, and that's why. All right. so if you can see in there, it was basically broke right in half here. So that's why I was getting exhaust and water into the bilge from the inside. Like I'm not even in water, and I've got water in the bilge. Okay, so anyways, it looks like the through hull looks pretty solid actually. So I'm just gonna cut off maybe about an inch to get back to where the rubber's not splitting, and then slip it back on, tighten her up. There we go. Now that looks a little bit better. There's like a steel band or something in this thing. Keep that really tight. That's what's rusted and corroded. The pipe looks good, but just the end of it was all screwed up. So now it's gonna get that on in there. Hopefully, without too much hassle. So I'm going to be doing the oil extraction for the oil change in the Atomic 4. Mine's 1966, I think. So this is the Pella Oil Extractor 6000. That's the dip tube right there, if you can see it. And it's basically like a little rubber thing. And then there's a vacuum pump, which you just start to suck and you pull. And then that's it. You just wait. It sucks the oil out. It's pretty awesome little invention compared to other ways I was doing this. And at the end, you just put the dipstick back and add the oil. I got the engine. This will be the last change. It's running. No more milky, just nice clear oil. This is the third oil change, so now I'm going to put the real oil in for the last round. So I think it's in enough conditioning. Got rid of all the antifreeze that was in the oil from the water coming in the exhaust valves. So yeah, we're all good. So I'm going to change the oil one last time and then pack her up. I think that's going to be good for the engine.